Hi guys, welcome to another edition of All Things Football. Today we're going to dedicate this episode to the Man United, the suffering Man United fans out there. It's been a few seasons of turmoil in terms of on the field and off the field issues, but things seem to be heading in the right direction. And with me today, it's AF and Jason. We're going to be discussing Erik ten Hag, the man who's supposedly going to be taking over at Old Trafford. AF, bringing you in first. Welcome to the show. But how are you feeling with regards to the imminent appointment?
Thanks for having me on again. It's always good to be back. It's some good news, eh? It's as a United fan at the moment, it's like gloomy. Like you wake up and you think about if it's match day, and it's like you have to watch this guys play again. You have to watch these oaks like run around on the field, just collecting their salary, not like giving 110%, actually not even giving 60% most of the time. I think this is like one of the I think it was on Tuesday, or was it yesterday, when they announced the agreement in principle. But I saw like the socials was going crazy. People are super happy. And I mean, why not some new blood? United's finally getting a manager that's on the up. I mean, since Alex Ferguson retired, it's been a manager like David Moyes comes in. He's not a manager on the up. He's a manager that was doing good with average Everton team, but it's like you want that Hollywood manager. Jose Mourinho in his prime was a Hollywood manager. When Jose Mourinho came to United, he was they found him out. They knew all of his tactics. They knew how old and how outdated his tactics were. So the fact that we're getting a manager now that is on the up, he is a very modernized manager, and I feel like he has what it takes to take the club forward.
Jason, bring you in here. Welcome to the show as well. But what do you make of it as a neutral, shall we say, or a man that's not following Man United, but as a rival fan? What do you make of the fact that Ten Hag is taking over at Man United?
Hey man, thanks for having me. Good to be back. Look, I mean, like we said, it's a verbal agreement in principle, but I mean, all of the signs look like he is going to be taking over. I'm not sure. I think since Fergie left, since Wenger left, even for us Arsenal fans, it's been very difficult to actually find somebody who can restore the club to where it used to be. And it's hard because United have gone through a bit more of a ringer than Arsenal as it stands. They've had a few guys who they thought were supposed to bring that success, and like AF says, maybe you didn't need that Hollywood manager, but I mean, they had Van Gaal, they had Mourinho, they had Moyes, who is maybe a B-list Hollywood celebrity, maybe within the English ranks. What do I make of it from a neutral perspective? I think it's interesting because we're wanting these top teams to actually compete. And I mean, it's nice to an extent to see Man United struggle because Arsenal's in a period of transition as well. So it means that we're not on our own. But yeah, man, it would be good to be competing with these clubs that have such a traditional history, such a long stronghold that they've had on this English football. So yeah, I think it bodes well for both Man United to have somebody like Ten Hag coming in, but also just for the league as well, man, just to increase the already competitive nature of this league. So it's just like, yeah, it should be good. Hopefully everything does come off for them. Yeah, man, should be a good few months ahead.
If I want to bring you in here because when I look at him, I see Ten Hag as having done very well with Ajax, but that's been a couple of seasons. But if we, truth be told, Ajax have been dominating Dutch football for decades. So it's not just the case of he's achieved something spectacular with Ajax, because other managers have done that as well. So my question is, will he be successful given that he hasn't coached at a top club apart from Ajax? But as we said, Ajax are already big in Dutch football. So it's not going to be, this is going to be new territory for him because United are a global franchise. They're very, very well popular around the world. So how do you think he will fit with regards to having never experienced something as big as this before?
No, it's going to be a challenge for him. I definitely think so, because like you said, like the scale of Ajax and the scale of United is two completely different things. And the fact that he's done so well with Ajax, I mean, we're forgetting all his Champions League runs in the past 3 or 4 seasons. That's not just in the Dutch league. That's against European heavyweights, and I mean, like the likes of like Real Madrid. I think what was that score, 4-1 when he knocked him out. I mean, it's it's not a walk in the park. Like to be able to do something like that, you have to be a good manager. You have to be a good tactician on the field. But it's going to be a challenge, and I really hope that the fans will be able to give him time and be patient, because this project isn't going to happen overnight. This project is going to take a couple of seasons. It's going to take patience. It's going to take a huge squad revamp. There are definitely players in the squad that Ten Hag is probably looking at like, nope, I don't like him. I don't fancy that one. Maybe he should be the first name on the list to go out. And there are going to be players that he's going to be like, okay, maybe there's hope for this one, but if it doesn't work, let's phase him out eventually. But yeah, like I definitely think that his relationship, or his future relationship with Ralf Rangnick, will be vital to his success, because I mean, Rangnick is a proper professor of football. I mean, he knows the ins and outs. I mean, he's been through it at a technical director level, at a sporting director level. I mean, what he did with Leipzig is insane. So if you give them the time and the fans are patient, I definitely think that United can see some success in the next few seasons.
But I think that's the big thing, though, because will he get the time that he needs? Because as you say, it's not going to be an overnight thing where he comes in, he takes over, he buys a few players, and all of a sudden United are top 2, top 3, and sailing next season. I don't think it's going to be as smooth as that. So the question is, will he get the time? I personally think he will get the time, because obviously they're investing in a youngish manager compared to some of the other names, whereas Van Gaal was quite experienced, Mourinho was quite experienced. So whereas he's still, learning his way. So I think the fact that they're choosing him, they're going to give him time. But Jason, from a Arsenal fan's point of view, do you think that he will get the time that he needs? Because let's say, for example, United start the season badly, or they start well, but they sort of unravel, and come Christmas time, perhaps they top 6, or just there where they are now, currently 7th. Do you think he will then get the time that he needs as a rival fan?
As a rival fan, I hope that he doesn't, obviously, and he gets on his bike and then suddenly everything goes up in flames there. But I think if you're looking at the long-term picture, and I think as an Arsenal fan, this has sometimes been hard, where we had Wenger for so long, and I think United, obviously, with Fergie, those things weren't built overnight. Obviously, Wenger came to the league and he brought a few different tactics and he brought a few methodologies with him. But something of long-term success, if you were to look at Liverpool, Man City, their first seasons were good, but they were never to the level that they're currently at. I think when you look at Ten Hag's success when he's at Ajax is a well-oiled machine that has come through from 60s, 70s, 80s. They have a very clear structure. They are not one of the major clubs in terms of maintaining the success as they once were. They have now changed to actually being more of a production line, bring the youth through, bring everything through. So now he comes to a club that, like you said, is such a global franchise where suddenly the emphasis isn't on pushing through kids. It's about getting the superstars, getting them back to the pedestal that they once were on, and actually competing at that level consistently. I think Arsenal is a good example where we struggled in this recent years, and we've given Arteta time, and it's still not where we want to be. It's not where we used to be, but it's definitely further along where we once were, maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago, where there was a lot more inconsistencies in our game. And that's with a little bit of backing from the board, a little bit of patience and faith. It's not going to be like you've mentioned, like Abe's mentioned, it's not going to be overnight success. But if the board can switch their mindset to actually, okay, 2 to 3 years down the line, we will actually be back, we'll be competing. It definitely bodes well, because he is somebody that has a good grip of modern football. He has a good understanding. And I think, like I've said as well, you'd have to get rid of some of the dead weight. There's some of the guys that wouldn't fit the system, but there are some decent guys, both out on loan and in the actual club, that could play the system. So yeah, definitely could be exciting times. Also, we could see a return of Dusan Tadic, because that's his go-to guy. So maybe him, maybe Klaus-Jan Huntelaar coming back, maybe Daley Blind, who knows? But yeah, definitely exciting one.
I'm looking forward to him bringing youngsters, not oaks over the age of 35, eh?
But those are the proven guys in his system, and that's the thing.
No, but in all seriousness, like I think that, like, if he's going to basically stamp his name, if you would put it like that, on Manchester United, on the squad, it would have to be like blooding youngsters, bringing oaks in from the academy, looking at young players, and mixing it with some experience as well. But yeah, like you said, about not having that overnight success, I think United would probably do something like, okay, here's a 5-year plan for you. After the 3rd year, we would like to win our first cup. In the 4th year, we would like to win another cup and maybe challenge in the Premier League. And in the 5th year, let's try and win the Premier League. That it sounds like a realistic plan, and it's something similar to what Jurgen Klopp has done. Like, since he took over, it was, I think, the 2015-2016 season, and you could see that there was progress every single season. The first season was just trying to get rid of all that Southampton players, like just like cleaning that squad of Southampton. And then yeah, as seasons went on, it was just like, okay, let's have a cup run, let's try to win a major cup. Then they won the Champions League, and then they won the Premier League. So you could see that they were slowly climbing that ladder, and I think that's a sort of a blueprint for any other Premier League team to have.
I think, yeah, that's the big thing, because when you look at past managers like Mourinho, he got them second, and everyone thought, okay, that he's doing a fantastic job. And he mentioned that I'm doing, with the squad I have, to finish second is an outstanding achievement. And then Ole also, I think, got second or third recently as well. But I think the challenge is that thereafter, then I think the board and the fans, or I don't know what goes wrong, but then all of a sudden, the season thereafter, the team struggles. So I think that's also where they've got to look at it as taking smaller steps, instead of thinking, we got last season they perhaps got second because of the injuries that Liverpool had. Chelsea were going through transition, and they fired their coach halfway through the season. So also sometimes you got to look at and assess where you really at, instead of just looking at the league table and, oh, we're second, so that means next year we must win the league. It doesn't always work that way. I think you've got to take smaller steps first before you can, get to that high level that you want to be. But I think that's going to be key if they actually do work to a 5-year plan instead of a 2 to 3 years, and we expect success. It's not going to be as easy. But that's also the question that I want to ask you, if what will the target be next season? Because you're currently 7th in the league, so you could potentially be playing Europa. You could be playing conference football, which I would love to see. But you could also be out of Europe completely. So what is your target for next season, given that, obviously we don't know where things are going to end this season?
Well, firstly, the target will be to get Ten Hag over the line. I mean, it's pointless to have this discussion and then somewhere in the next 2 weeks, he ends up, like, the deal falls through and we probably end up appointing Pochettino, which will be a huge anticlimax. But yeah, like, if Ten Hag is eventually announced and he starts laying out his plans for the season ahead, I think the objective for next season will be, let's make top 4, and maybe let's see how far we get in the League Cup. I think as a first season, that will be like, okay, let's try doing that. Like, start with baby steps, and then as the seasons go on, let's aim a bit higher. But I don't think like it will be pointless for him to come in and like, okay, let's win the Premier League next season. Let's win the FA Cup. Let's win the League Cup. It doesn't make any sense. I agree, like baby steps and take it from there.
Jason, in terms of the squad, I think if you look individually at the Man United squad, it's two things spring out. One is it's an aging squad. Lots of players that have been at United for years. I think of Mata, Matic, players like that, past the prime, but they're still at United. So I see a very aging squad. And then the second thing that springs out is the obvious quality that they have. There's enough talent. There's big names. There's Varane, there's Ronaldo, there's Fernandes, Sancho, all big signings, big players, big personalities, but the talent is definitely there. So in terms of the squad, if you were to be Ten Hag and try and strengthen that squad or make changes to the squad, what sort of changes do you think you'd make if you were him?
Well, if I was in his position, I'd offer Maguire extra 6 years in his contract.
Absolutely.
No,
lifetime membership.
Yeah, lifetime membership, surely. Yeah, man, I think what at the moment United are lacking is maybe establishing a strong spine. I think you could always compensate with putting youngsters. You could put Sancho, you could put Elanga, you could even go Rashford if you want to. But the spine seems to be very inconsistent because there's games where Matic starts with McTominay, then there's games where Fred and Matic play, then McTominay and Fred. Centre-back pairings should change, but they're not. So that's actually one of the consistencies where they're playing somebody that shouldn't be playing, and he just consistently gets in that thing. And then there's a glaring thing up front where Ronaldo, whilst he's put the ball in the box, he'll finish. I think he's not at that level where he's a holistic team player, where even Cavani is always injured or plays a few good games, gets the fans hyped, and then suddenly he's got a groin injury, he's out for 2 weeks, and you find out
Uruguay.
And then you find out through the socials that he's actually back in Uruguay having a nice barbecue with his family. So yeah, getting the spine right is the key to, I think, most successes, like most of the team's success. And that you could see with Liverpool, they got Alisson, good keeper, they got Van Dijk, and then they stabilized that central midfield with, I think it was the addition of Fabinho, maybe, that just added so much more dimension. So yeah, I'd say maybe a good combative midfielder. Obviously, Man United have that pedigree, which they can pull most players just by the sheer nature. And most of these players are also enticed by something that looks like a good project. So you have to now coming over with all his success when he's at Ajax, and he now goes to what we had mentioned earlier, one of the biggest global franchises, and he says, okay, this is my plan, and this is my 5-year plan. If they do align that and they say, okay, look here, I'm going to pluck this kid out, I'm going to pluck him out there, and we'll grow this club, and you'll be part of that growth, and it will just add so much feathers in your cap. So yeah, I think centrally is a big problem. I think they have to definitely get rid of all the deadwood, preferably at that right back, left back spot, because those are key positions in the Ten Hag system. Maybe it's the Ajax system, and obviously Ten Hag just inherited it. Somewhat of those the inverted fullbacks, which I think Dalot can maybe play. I think Alex Telles is more of the wing back, which is okay, because I think in the system you have one that's always bombing and you have one that always just comes in. So it could work out. But like AF said, I think definitely going to bring quite a few youngsters over. I think there's Gravenberg, who's up for offer. There's a few other guys coming through, Mazraoui as well. That's a very good fullback that can play into that midfield role as well. Yeah, so it's centrally where I think most of the issues come, and then you can fix those wide areas. Like I said, you could compensate for like those guys, but yeah, central midfielder and potentially just a striker that gives you more than maybe 7 to 11 games on the spin, just constantly playing, just constantly impacting and being part of the team play.
Yeah, I think somebody like Darwin Núñez. I mean, that.
Okay,
that
easy. Darwin's coming to the carpet in North London. He's not going to United. He's not going to grow there. I think Nikita mentioned it.
He's going
not
to go
gonna.
to Spurs. He's going to
Oh
go
my
to Spurs because
goodness.
Darwin's
they're
going to
going
have
to
a lot
take
of
the.
teams. He's going to have a lot of
Yeah.
teams after him, so definitely.
He's going to the team that's going to end up fourth, and I don't think that's either United or Arsenal.
Yo, heavy.
Oh, shots
But-
fired.
Maybe.
But yeah, I'm just looking at United's squad now, and there's so many guys in here. Paul Jones, what's he still doing at United? Paul Pogba, his contract's going to end at the end of the season. Juan Mata, I don't know what he's doing at United at this point. Lee Grant, I don't know what he's doing there. I mean, Jesse Lingard, all these guys, that's such a huge chunk off the wage bill if they leave the club. And it will free up so much space in the squad for younger talent to come through. So yeah, I'm hoping that this is all in Ten Hag's plan. Just watch he does something completely opposite, and he keeps all of these guys and offers him all contracts, and watch social media explode.
But I think, if you know, that's also the problem with United, is that certain decisions, if truth be told, it's boardroom decisions, not decisions made by managers,
Yeah.
for example. So, you know, United have always had this thing where they would offer automatic or trigger a contract automatically, 1-year extension for a certain player if he plays 15 games for the season, for example, and he has a year left on his contract, and then they'd automatically trigger it. And that's how guys like Matic kept just getting another year extension, and Matic another year extension. And, you know, because they're so scared of losing players for free, that they would rather offer them an extension and try and get a fee if they are to be sold to a club that is interested. So I think that's also the thing. If the board stays out of it and allows Ten Hag to do what he wants to do with the squad, then it will be so much better. But yeah, you know,
But luckily, the guy that used to do that is gone.
oh,
Ed
yeah.
Woodward, goodbye. Hope I never see your face again. But yeah, like if all the rumors are to be believed, Ten Hag wanted full authority on his squad, and I mean he had other offers, like one from RB Leipzig apparently was very far in advance over the past weekend. And once United got wind of it, they decided to take things further, and that's why they announced Ten Hag's agreement in principle. But yeah, like I think that they've given him what he wants, or let's hope that they did, and he will be able to make his mark on the team.
Yeah, for the many Man United fans out there, yeah, definitely for your sake, I do hope that, you know, you can and be proud of your team again, because I so often, you know, when there's a United game, I'll hear fans say, geez, now I have to watch that again, or after 10 minutes they're complaining, oh my God, that's just like so terrible. And it's so for your sake, I hope that things do improve and you get your club back fighting for titles, hopefully with some other clubs like Arsenal, Newcastle, Man City, Liverpool, all of us, you know, fighting for titles. That would be ideal. That would be ideal.
What a cheeky throw in there.
I had to try and at least throw my team's name in there. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because I think often United have made poor decisions, and, you know, they've later down the line they regretted that. Whereas I think Ten Hag is a manager on the up, and I think he's going to make your club much more better than they currently are at the moment. But yeah, if you're still watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like to our YouTube channel. I want to thank Jason and Erik for coming on. I think with United we can talk for days, you know, with regards to everything that's happening at the club and our clubs as a whole. So yeah, we have to stop at some time, but thanks for joining, and hopefully see you guys soon sometime.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cool. Pray that Ten Hag actually signs.